Welcome to this new episode of Matum for October 2024, part 2. So let's immediately start with a few pictures. Here I thought the picture on the left was quite interesting. That's using Bomber Baba as an insaturator and KD Adav 200 as a filmulator. I kind of like the patchy coloring of those autumn colors of the tree on the scene around, and I think that works pretty well. That's where this insaturator is really, I think, interesting. Or the picture in the middle, that was the original picture taken with Haben as insaturator and KDT 32 as the filmulator. I put the picture inside the experimental editor of Kamari and got this picture. So basically you have this folded paper filmulator. Here the problem is the app crashed, so you won't have the QR code, but the first QR code was the KDT 32 filmulator in the middle. You'll have it, and we'll see some more picture at the end of the presentation using Vica and the same preset. Here are 3 examples. Actually, one picture on the left that's using Nesca as a simulator, as an insaturator. This kind of simulates. Originally, it was meant to look like the NTSC encoding of televisions of a certain era. Doesn't really look like it, but does at the same time. And then I passed it through the insaturator, through the experimental editor of Kamari. And I got Vica as insaturator in the middle, Safrano on the right. This picture was taken with flash of this cafe latte, and you see how different the rendering can be with different presets. You can actually see the interface of the milk is really differently looking. The details are obviously very different in the background for the picture in the middle. So yeah, those presets really have an importance, even so the original capture is the same. I thought graphically this picture made sense for me. Here are the QR codes. Did some examples also in concert situations. That's in Harpa, the Reykjavik Opera, which is sometimes used for younger groups, and that was during a Upraisen event where different upcoming groups are shown the same night. And yeah, here the stylization is pretty strong. That's Crunchy as an insaturator with KDV3X as a filmulator. The filmulator is actually a simulation of a Vision 3 film, expired Vision 3 film, actually Vision 2 film, I believe, if I remember well when I did it. And you see the really strong stylization will make the concert look different than on this picture, where here you have more detail. It's still kind of weird looking in the overexposed center of the picture, but that's RDR. Here that's RDR as the insaturator and KDC 100N as the filmulator. But yeah, very different ambiance. You see the public better. I think it's interesting to use those filters even in concert situation. Or here, very stylized, of course, with Regert's, which does this sort of pointiest, dotty appearance of the picture. Yeah, use it for events like that also. I think you will render the ambiance of the place a little bit differently, but sometimes it's more potent. Or here, more classic. That's using Dolce as an insaturator, and then as a filmulator we have QQC 1600. Looks like old film to me. I think it's a good combination. It's very soft, but still warm. Same picture through the experimental editor of Camare. That's Haben and FJN02. Warmer, but less analog in my opinion, more modern rendering. Or here, a picture on the left that's using Ondo with those sort of annular shadowings, a very specific, very special rendering of this insaturator. And the picture middle and right, I'm not really sure. I think obviously it's Bootsy as an insaturator in the picture in the middle. And on the right, the filmulator is this thermal color printer simulation. But otherwise, I just thought those 2 pictures were nice. But here are the QR codes, except for the 2 last ones, if you want to use them in your own apps. Other examples, here's the donut, the coffee. That's Regert's with QQ Blued 140 as a filmulator on the left, and in the middle, that's Rondi and PLRL as a filmulator in the middle. using the experimental editor of Kamari. Sometimes something very stylized like crunchy in this street scene by night will make it look really weird, and I kind of like it. Or here, more classical, the picture on the left, that's a traditional bar in Reykjavik. This low light situation using Morkmal and as a filmulator FJ N02. Or this small bird in the middle that's using DNAS as an insaturator in the middle, and then going through the experimental editor of Camare, RDR on the right. Very different rendering, very different results. So think about using the experimental editor if you have Kamari. Here are the codes if you want to use them in your own apps. Going to something more sunny on the left, that's using KSWO as an insaturator and KD Adav 200+. That's in Geneva, the Plein Palais square. It's a huge square where the circus sometimes come or different events happen. It's a really huge surface which is multi-usable. In the middle, that's in Reykjavik. That's using DNAS and QQberg as a filmulator. I like the movement of the bus here. On the right, using a flash. That's this leak in this gutter. I thought it was interesting, and that's using Arguable as an insaturator and RDBug Call 200 as a filmulator. 3 more pictures by night using Camare. Picture on the left, Nesca as an insaturator, Rondi in the middle, Nesca again on the picture on the right. Picture on the right is not in focus, and I really think I'll come up pretty soon with a manual focus option on the different apps, which are Camare, Vica, Digital Pola, and Darkcam. Because I think sometimes it renders really nice when you're slightly out of focus. Here are the QR codes if you want to use those presets. And going back to the Heben plus KDT32 preset we saw at first with the bus, that's using this preset in Vica with a square format camera. I did a whole series. I'm working on a new version, the 1.7 right now, which will hopefully come out soon. It's almost done. It's still buggy in some parts, which I have to work on. But that's this really nice rendering of this mix of insaturator and filmulator with the variator levels. I think I really like very special rendering. As you can see, those vertical columns. I think the mix of grain and this construction, the reconstruction of the images makes sense for me. So yeah, hopefully if you want to use this preset, you can catch it earlier in the video. And yeah, if you have comments, questions, suggestions, don't hesitate. And hopefully that was entertaining and a little bit useful. So yeah, catch you next time.